Look, manual content creation just does not scale. It's the hard truth, right? The moment you are the one sitting there writing every single piece yourself, you instantly become the biggest bottleneck in your own business. But what if we could flip that entirely? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tearing down the old exhausting ways of working, and we're looking at exactly how to build a recurrent revenue stream using automated open source content engines. We're going to dive into how using the right modular code bases can literally curate, refine, and distribute high signal content for you without you having to touch every single asset. Notice the reality most creators are trapped in today on the left side there: manual labor. You stop working? Well, your output stops. Your income is tied directly to the hours you can physically grind out. But on the right, we've got a massive paradigm shift. By leveraging a modular, automated system built on the 2026 open source stack, you transition from being the laborer doing all the heavy lifting to being the architect. You build the machine once, and the machine works for you. Okay, so here's our blueprint for this explainer. We're covering 1, the labor decoupling, 2, high signal niches, 3, the engine stack, 4, monetization loops, and wrapping up with 5, honest scaling limits. Let's jump in. Section 1, the labor decoupling. Work smarter. Take a look at this exact work split ratio. Now, I want to be super clear right out of the gate. This is not some fake, zero-effort, get-rich-quick scheme. Honestly, if you treat it that way, your whole system's going to collapse. Instead, focus on the blue slice. 80% of the work is automated. That's the boring, repetitive stuff, right? Sourcing data, first pass drafting, formatting, distribution. Automating all of that frees you up for the orange slice, the 20% that actually requires your human judgment. This is where your real leverage is. You decide the topics, you set the quality bar, and you give the final stamp of approval on what goes out under your brand. You're multiplying the value of your time by refining the system itself, rather than getting bogged down in endless one-off tasks. Moving on to Section 2, high signal niches, sourcing opportunity. So a crucial part of this whole thing is defining what actually makes a niche viable for automated curation. We're talking about finding a high signal niche. Basically, this is a narrow, specific domain where a local AI model can look at a massive mountain of data and reliably say, okay, this is genuinely new and relevant versus this is just everyday noise. Data-heavy or research-based fields are absolutely perfect for this. Think along the lines of new academic papers, real estate market listings, or heavy regulatory filings. But, fair warning, if you try this in a highly subjective, purely creative field, the workflow is going to struggle big time, simply because AI can't reliably filter for human taste. And this contrast right here is exactly why you have to specialize. Broad, generic content, it's a completely saturated race to the bottom, because, well, everyone has access to basic AI generation now. It's just noise. But the right side is where the real arbitrage opportunity lives today. A perfect working example of this in 2026 is providing a highly curated weekly research or news digest to an underserved professional audience. Professionals will gladly open their wallets for a service that saves them 10 hours a week of digging through industry fluff just to find the 3 updates that actually matter to their jobs.
Section 3, the engine stack, under the hood.
All right, here is the concrete 2026 open source blueprint. Step 1 is ingestion. You're going to want to use a lightweight local model, something like Llama 3.1, or maybe a Mistral model, right in that 7 to 8 billion parameter range. Because it's running locally, you totally avoid racking up massive API fees while it handles the heavy lifting of reading and summarizing. Then step 2 is orchestration. You use tools like N8N or an agentic framework like Crew AI to seamlessly manage the handoff, from ingestion to refinement to formatting. And then we hit step 3, the quality gate. I need you to listen very closely to this part. The quality gate is a strict rules-based check or even a second AI model pass that is specifically prompted to flag low-confidence outputs before anything gets published. It sits at the very end of the line, right before the content goes live to the world. Guys, this is the single most important component of this entire system. Without it, you are flying completely blind, and the consequences of doing that are, frankly, catastrophic. 35 million. Just let that number sink in for a second. In early to mid-2026, 35 million combined subscribers were completely wiped out across 16 major channels. Why? Because the operators of those channels got a little too comfortable. They got lazy. They skipped the quality gate entirely and let their engines run completely unsupervised. Here is exactly what went down. Platforms have drastically sharpened their enforcement against unsupervised AI sludge. YouTube actually broadened its inauthentic content policy specifically to target mass-produced, templated, automated output. And here's the real kicker. The detection now runs at the channel level, not just on a per video basis. If a platform detects a high volume of unreviewed automated content, they don't just slap you on the wrist and demonetize a video, they terminate the entire channel. That exact crackdown resulted in 4.7 billion views being wiped from the platform. So, human oversight isn't just an optional nice to have, it is the literal difference between building a durable business and having your entire digital asset deleted by month 3. Section 4. Monetization loops, generating revenue. We are going to completely skip the vague hype you might hear elsewhere. Like relying on convoluted crypto smart contracts, which honestly just aren't standard for content billing right now. The tools that actually work are proven and, frankly, a little unglamorous. You want to use a standard subscription billing platform like Stripe. You can run paid newsletters or private membership communities. Another incredibly lucrative route right now is recurring affiliate commissions. Several major AI tool companies are currently paying out 20 to 50% recurring commissions for as long as a referred customer stays subscribed. Think about it. If your curated digest is reaching a specific technical audience, recommending the exact right tools to them stacks perfectly on top of your content engine. You can also look into usage-based billing if your engine happens to provide a divided data feed. But here's the real secret to making those monetization tools hum: the feedback loop. You absolutely must track which specific pieces of curated content are actually driving those subscriptions and renewals. Do not, I repeat, do not get distracted by raw vanity engagement metrics like views or likes. Viral content doesn't always pay the bills. You need to identify the actual revenue-driving signals and feed that data straight back into your engine so it knows exactly what to prioritize sourcing next week. Section 5. Honest scaling limits, structural integrity. All right, let's talk about the sustainable order of operations for scaling this up. Step 1, run one single instance of your engine really well with high human oversight. I'm talking about checking the quality gate yourself every single day. Step 2, prove the model's value. Make sure people are actually paying for it and that the system is stable. Step 3, only then do you clone that structure into a second niche. Do not, under any circumstances, try to run 5 unsupervised instances right out of the gate. That is exactly how quality collapses across the board, and you end up triggering those platform policy violations we talked about earlier. You also have to understand that maintenance is perpetual. The term self-sustaining applies strictly to the content loop, not your involvement. First off, language models require periodic retraining as the vocabulary and trends in your specific niche shift over time. Second, platform policies will inevitably change again, demanding that you adapt the system. And most importantly, you remain legally and reputationally responsible for everything the system publishes under your name. The machine does the heavy lifting, sure, but the buck stops with you, the architect. So the path is pretty clear. Start with one niche, build one engine, and manage your quality gate meticulously until the system proves itself. The leverage is incredibly real, the tools are open source and ready to go, and the recurring revenue is absolutely there for those who architect it correctly. The only thing left to decide is your starting point. I want you to really think critically about your own expertise and the data ecosystems you already understand. What niche will you build your first engine around?